There I am. Testing, testing. Testing. Can you hear me? I can hear myself. Hi, everyone. I need to mute that. How? People can still hear me, but not Jordan. So, well, I don't know if I can hear you or not.
I'll get it fixed.
All right, well, I'll start talking. No,
I think
he asked me 10 minutes ago, hey, you want to be on stream? Anyone want to be on stream? I'm like, hey, and now it's like, hey, why
By
don't
the
you
way,
host the stream?
you're gonna host the whole stream because my audio's working. Okay, I think my audio is now working. Can you all hear me as well? See, this is why I really like having timestamps in. There we go. All right, good. It is working. So, this is why I like having the timestamps on the live stream because I'll just skip that part. Here we go. Let's everybody pretend. We're gonna go right back to the intro. Good Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to the Binary Angel live stream. You didn't see anything prior to this. This is definitely the beginning of the live stream, the first time we're doing it. Let's go.
Certainly when it gets uploaded, it will be.
Well, so that's the thing. It is already being uploaded. I don't actually do a separate upload. So I'll just, but I have like the little timestamp thing. So as long as nobody clicks earlier, they don't notice a thing. So I've got my water. Peter, you've got, it didn't look like water. It was some very red looking water you got.
Yeah, just some cheap wine from a box, only the finest.
I mean, I say that gives good quality results in the taste test, right? So, yeah, welcome everybody to the stream. This one we don't have a rigorous schedule. What we were gonna do is we're just gonna talk about the latest stable release. We're excited that we've got 2.3 out to everybody. I don't know if everyone here is a user of dev, in which case they're like, yeah, it's old news, man. I've had all these features. Or whether they're a stable user, but if you're using stable, then there's some good changes that just landed. So let's head on over into that. And Peter, I'm actually going to bring your face cam up too here. I think I'm just going to add you, so we'll have two little face cams. Let's see. Let's see if this works. It does, except I got to crop and shrink you. But there, now everybody gets to see you too. All right. So, yeah, I feel bad that just I'm a little. Oh, wait a minute. Did I just auto update? Okay, good. It didn't actually update yet. Update available. So just to start with, I've been doing a different theme each week. This is base 16 Outrun Dark. And we're just trying different themes. If y'all prefer me just to stick with the same one, but I like to show off different things to. You might find something that strikes your fancy. This is the.
We might also not be able to see some text because the theme wasn't designed well.
Well, so I will say the advantage of these base 16 themes, and by the way, those come from let's see. So there's actually like an auto generator that will do color schemes called base 16, and that zoom size is a bit large, and you can see there's like a whole bunch of like auto generation things. So the idea is that they have like a consistent set of tons of themes, and then you just build a generator or a compiler or whatever. I don't know what the name they use is, how do they call them? Template. Yeah, and then you can generate those themes for that tool. So no, stable is for the boring people. Yeah, it's like Debian stable. It's like nobody runs that. Everybody. No, there's actually, Peter, do you remember the stats offhand? We've run the numbers before. We've looked at like the update checks to see what the ratio is. I forget offhand what the ratio is for deb to stable, but every time we do a yearly survey and we ask people like in the survey,
I think it's like 40-60 with like 60% on dev, but it's been a while since we ran that.
I don't think we've looked at it recently. Yeah, if one of the other Vector 35 folks wants to
I
look.
haven't released the survey yet for this year. We got to do that soon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, since the default is stable, I think the survey though, one of the outcomes of the survey has been like, we'll ask people which branch you're running, dev, stable, or wait, what? There's branches, and there's always
I think there was like 10%.
Yeah, like 10% of the people are like
didn't know that you could switch
Yeah.
to different branches.
Yep. So that's I just always think that's a really humbling lesson in terms of like we can never assume that people know the things about binary energy. We really have to make sure we're constantly communicating things, have things documented multiple places, have videos like this,
and not just say things once, but say it 20 times before people actually really get it.
Because there's just always people who missed it the first couple times, and it's just harder for us. We feel like we're being super repetitive, but for people that don't read every single thing that we write or every single communication mechanism we use, it's not as big of a deal. But there's users on the stable channel. I know especially some people who have like automated pipelines and stuff will not use dev.
It's definitely better to be unstable if like
it just is a lot of work.
Your workflow really depends on it, or
like juggling things. If it's a lot of changes for you, like if you're trying to iterate something else built on top of it. So yeah, let's see. So I don't. Okay. Oh, also let's see if this is updated yet. So you'll notice it'll take a few hours depending on when you last launched Binja. But the decompiler is here message. This is actually going away. So it's already been updated on other builds of Binary Ninja, but the caching. So here I can show it over in this window. So we've got just a better list of some of the new features that people have been or that have come out in 2.3 and 2.2, because this thing really just talks about the decompiler, and it's missed all sorts of updates. So more images there showing off what's going on. This one. Let's do this. Kill that. All right. So you'll see. I mean, you may or not see the same start page when you load up. So that's just something to be aware of. But this is the important stuff here. Although we've actually got a better list. So if you don't already follow our blog, it's very like sort of concentrated stuff. Like our blog is, I would say it's been actually like 3 or 4 months since we posted last. Well, I guess it was just we had the guest post in December. Before that, we haven't had anything for a while. But we've got several good ones queued up in the pipeline. So no, it's not a picture. It's not a picture. Why would it be a picture of me? Like, I don't want that. You don't want that. Nobody wants that, Josh. Like, who wants a giant picture of me as a start page? The only reason I would do that is because I'm the one who's supposed to update it, and I'm really bad about doing it. And so I'm always getting the flack for like, why isn't the start page updated? Why isn't the start page updated? So the single only reason to do something obnoxious would be because it's hard to update, and I was just tired of it. But I don't think, why wouldn't it be me?
We could put your face on there, Josh, if you really want.
Oh, there we go. Maybe like we'll have like so we've highlighted guest plugins there before, right? Maybe we need to highlight guest plugin authors, like third-party plugin authors that have done great. Just there. We'll hire like.
What's the GIF of you being covered in Binja swag?
There is the t-shirts being poured out of me writhing on the floor. I hope the evidence is all offline of that particular that particular image.
No, I'm pretty sure it's still on our...
It's probably on Twitter or somewhere. I don't remember where it was last. So anyway, so base 16, one of the things, though, is that because these themes are all automatically converted, they're not always the best mapping in terms of like what's the appropriate relative highlights. And so, although this one I did actually, so last week on stream, I opened it up and there was definitely some unreadable stuff. This looked fine to me. Y'all tell me on stream how readable that is. We can always crank the font. But I did do at least a quick check of this one to see if there was anything too crazy. So that is, yeah, so the new build is 2660 is the latest stable release 2.3. So just if you're not familiar with it, our dev channel is where, like, as we commit stuff, it goes live onto dev, and then once every quarter approximately, we do a bunch of extra testing, we update all the documentation, and we push out a new stable. And so that's what we're calling 2.3. But this commit hash, well, it's not really a commit hash. This is sort of like, it's not even really a, oh, you found it. Oh, I'm sorry. There's been a technical difficulty, and oh, I hit the wrong one. Where'd it go? No, there it is. Oh, I hit you too late. That was good. So that's the stuff.
To be sure, I'm the one that came up with the gag, the thing.
It was your idea. You just...
I was like, Jordan, you need to lay down on the ground.
You just knew of all the people in the company that would actually be willing to do that.
Yes.
I'm your man. I was there for it. Oh. Here, hold on. If you do it again, I'll make it full screen for people to really see. This is So we had a flag. That was
Binary Ninja flag,
and all of the t-shirts.
2 people with
like boxes
of t-shirts that are all rolled up with a band around them, and they're dumping them on him.
I mean, maybe that's...
I was thinking
us,
of like an American Beauty type take on Binary Ninja shirts.
I think
came out very well.
Yeah, that one should be on GIF. That is actually, I think, a GIF that he was showing, but we do need to put that somewhere else. So you can tell sort of like not necessarily commits, but sort of approximate number of builds that we've done internally based on the build numbers. That only got 1 retweet. I'm okay. I know.
What the heck?
Come on, Marcus, get on that.
We can tweet it again, and we have a bigger follower count now. So
well, we need somebody. We need the people who are good with memes to help us out with that. I think we're old fogies. So you can tell last stable was 2487, and this is 2660. So there's been about 200 builds of Binary Ninja, give or take, since
just on dev.
Just on dev. We have test branches and other things. So a lot of times we'll do a lot of work on a test branch, and then we'll bring it over to the dev branch. Where it really represents lots of different commits and builds that happen on a test branch first. So yeah, I'd say that's probably, we can go back and double check. That's probably about consistent with our usual pace. I don't think it was particularly slower or faster. But the changes that we're going to go over today are, like I said, are also in the blog. And we try to organize both the blog and the change notes in the UI. So you'll notice that the UI and the new page tab has the list of changes for whatever the stable build is. We try to organize them first with just a list of major changes, like what are the big, like, high-level takeaways. TLDR, read the summary notes there if you want to get, like, the most important stuff. And then we organize everything else by, like, a bunch of just sort of subsections. And so you'll see down we have, like, UI things, binary views, architectures analysis, installer, API changes. Or maybe they're maybe not so major, but we still want to make people aware of them. And this, again, is not even everything. There's actually still many more fixes and things that don't make it into here, just because we wanted to try to be a little bit more concise. But for the other ones, you can usually just go to GitHub and pull up the list of all the closed issues for that particular time range. And so this is all of what we say was 159 on this particular repo. Yeah, so Marcus asks, when is dev getting visible commit messages?
Never.
I already said we were thinking about it, or maybe we were talking about it in Slack.
I don't. Yeah. it can only lead to embarrassment.
It would be
where you're like, oh, fix this again. No, really fixed it.
This time for real. Yeah, that would be a lot of my commit messages. Like, or I hate Git kind of commit messages. This is a Git merge because my rebase failed.
Jordan failing to do
a rebase,
being able to do a rebase.
Yeah. So, but it would be, a little bit nicer. People can see what's happening on the branch, but I don't know. We've talked about it. I have yeah, so Josh does get the CR commit messages, and he has yeah, I want to say that I did that intentionally, so that you would see it, because I knew you had commit messages.
I think we could do better at updating the what's changed on dev. Like, we could potentially go to like a weekly, like, here's the things that changed. Or if we're going to do it, we've considered doing something other than dev, because there's a lot of churn on dev. Like, most days we have 5 or so builds that go out to everyone. It's kind of you kind of want to. Some people don't want to update 5 times a day, and a slower release cycle that's faster, something in between dev and stable, I think would be where most people kind of want to be at, though.
So Marcus mentions that he likes the release posts. The release posts are a lot of work, though.
Oh yeah, so we can do we won't stop doing the release posts, but yeah,
transparency, the commit messages are fun for those who have to live through those updates 5 times a day, and it's a little. Yeah, it would be a nice little incentive.
So one thing we've considered doing is making our commit messages be like so we have like public colon in front of the commit message, and if it does say that, then like, okay, that will go into the log. But we tested it once. Rusty wrote the code one time like a while ago, and it didn't work on the absolute first try, and he's like, screw it, I'm not worrying about this right now.
It was low priority,
and then we never did it again.
Yeah. Like, it's something that we could revisit, but again, it's kind of low priority. Speaking of, though, there is one other thing related to the build that I want to mention, which is we're also looking at potential for an M1 only build, and so this is not the
M1 compatible.
Well, sorry. So yes, an M1 compatible, a separate channel, right? So we have our update channels. We have our stable and our dev, and those are the 2 public update channels right now. But we've considered adding a third one just for Mac OS. That would be, well, I guess technically we could have the build work on any of the platforms, but all it would do is we could make an M1 compatible version of Binary Ninja right now. Like, we have working internal builds. In fact, it's already, even on the current stable, if you run headless with Binary Ninja, the M1 will be native. Like, you get native performance of the M1, and it is blazing fast. However, we've been waiting on Qt, specifically QWeb Engine. So their current plan is not for until 6.2, which is like September or October of this year, I think. They expect to actually have QWeb Engine natively ported for Qt, which is unfortunate because, like, obviously Chrome and Chromium have been native M1 for a while now. But the question is, like, how much work is it going to be? It is a little bit of extra work to add the plumbing, but it might be nice, especially because we don't think we're going to get a Qt fully complete M1 build out. And so just having one that you would lose. So here's the features you would lose, though, right? Because right now a QWeb Engine powers a couple different things in Binary Ninja. So you lose the start page, which I just updated for you guys. You don't lose that, but it's not that not the end of the world there. You would lose the plugin manager, which Peter did. I get to point down at you. You're like, right, boy, Peter did that. And so it was
like the Brady Bunch.
so that's right. I'm pointing at each other. Which, and now actually I was going to ask you this, Peter. The Q web engine just for the preview, right? Like the description from the plugin.
Yep, that's
like,
all it's used for.
The install button would still work. You could still select a plugin, click install. You just wouldn't get to read. You'd have to like click the title to go to the GitHub page to read about it. You wouldn't be able to read about it in line. It's really the only difference, right?
Yeah, we convert the markdown to HTML and then we render it.
Yeah, so like all the functionality would be there in the plugin manager. You just couldn't read about the plugins in there, which it's not the end of the world. And then the last piece you'd lose would be the reports. So Markdown report and HTML report APIs, which a couple of plugins use, and they're useful. We'd like to continue to support those. So that's kind of what's holding up an Apple Silicon native build. But like I said, we might just work around it with a temporary.
Yeah, that's there, and the holdups are Qt, not us. So.
Yeah, again, yeah, it is the.
We'd have it out now.
It is really unfortunate that that they specifically did not update all of their plugins, and they're like, you have to move to 6.0, but none of our plugins work. 6.1, only some of our plugins work. 6.2, okay, now all the plugins work again. So. Yeah. So there's at least one vote then in the chat for a sort of like slower release cycle. And I think weekly would work well. I think that's like a nice frequency interval between dev and the other option actually we've talked about too. So there's two ways we could solve that. One is with a new channel, call it weekly or I don't know, whatever, some other name besides dev and stable. The other way we could solve this is actually just with sort of like UI changes, where instead of automatically updating, you could say, listen, I only want you to pull the latest update once a week. So you could be on dev, but you would just only automatically install an update every once a week or some other interval. And like that's a little bit cleaner because then it's easier to have like a daily, every other day, weekly, monthly, whatever you want, and it would just make it like a UI decision. So I think that's the other. I think Ryan suggested that. I like that idea. So I think we should implement that. But let's get to our 2.3 changes. Features. So I guess first. Oh, you know what, Peter? I was going to look at our we had tweets. I have not looked at them. I wanted to see what do you think, by the way, if you haven't looked, is the most popular 2.3 feature? Because I put a poll out.
I already looked.
Did you already look? Okay, I haven't seen it, so let me guess. So
well, maybe it's changed since it's been up.
All right,
so.
all right, it could be. All right, so just looking at the list, right? The three I think here were view synchronization, type and variable cross references, and HLIL improvements. I'm going to say it's split between. I don't know. See, like it depends on the person, right? I think some people are really going to want one or like. I'd have a hard time picking HLIL or. So I think for people that wanted them, the type and variable cross references are probably the most like dramatic workflow improvement.
So I think, according to what I remember, I think you're right.
Is it? Okay.
I think the HLIL won out.
Yeah, I mean HLIL
which is surprising because you could still read the HLIL. It's just
well, it's
just better.
It was also several different little minor things all added up, right? So like it was like display, dead store, just better analysis. There's a couple analysis things fixed. All right, so now I'm gonna go look. Let's spoil and see what we got. Oh, don't let me forget. I gotta update the pinned tweet too. We gotta add that to our release process thing. Oh yeah, wow, HLIL improvements. And you know what we should do?
Not a huge margin, right?
And it's out of 50 people, so it's a significant number statistically. That's a good point actually. All noobs use HLIL, not all noobs use types. Yeah, I mean that's one way to look at it. And to be fair, I'm not the kind of person that uses a lot of types because I avoid hard reverse engineering. I want to go for the easy stuff if I can help it. Yeah, that's a good point. So let's actually talk about those a little bit more detail if people haven't already seen them. Although I feel a little bit like it's starting to like obviously we got a lot of regulars on the stream, so like they know all this stuff. But we'll see if we can spice it up with some little trivia that goes along with it. So view synchronization. I think this is cool because this was actually like a side thing. This has been a major requested feature to have like view synchronization, so you could do two things side by side, right? You want to be able to like open. Is this it? Let's see. Show reflection. Yeah, it is. Right. So you want to be able to like look at look at HLIL, but then you want to have assembly at the same time. Or
HLIL.
Yeah. And then you want to be able to like select multiple things and have all those things selected. I mean, it's been like a really, really commonly requested feature. It was one of our top voted ones, but we actually expected like it to be done, I would say a couple weeks after or months after it really got implemented. What really happened was Brian was working on the IO mapping views, right? So if I actually pull up the Python console and this is current, let's see, bv.get LLL at, or no, current function get LLIL at here. So that'll give me the address of this. And now I'm in high level IL, but I'm going to get the low level IL dot HLIL. All right. So this is a relatively new API. This is the fact that you could do it high level IL, and then I can even go backwards and I can do .LLILS. Right. So this mapping that lets us get like all these multiple ILs and like this sort of many to many relationship better exposed. Was something Brian was working on, and it was actually he was like, well, it'd be a lot easier to like debug this and visualize this if I had a UI. And so actually this is where like
you would be able to select an address in one place and show all the places where it corresponds to in the other.
So exactly the API I just used there, where I select this address and you see this call to printf, but as well as arguments. Or the return value being stored into a variable, right? That's just, it's one. Here's a better one probably here too. This fgets is probably going to be more. We're going to see setup. Yeah, all the arguments to fgets are also all highlighted, right? So like this highlight syncing is really nice, but that required that API, and he was working on the API, and then it was like, well, now that I have the API, I want to be able to see it, visualize it, and know it was working. And so it was sort of related. So I liked it.
So this is a super helpful feature for an analyst looking at the binary. It's also very helpful, if you're trying to script something up, but people should also understand that it's kind of an impossible problem to solve perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a best attempt kind of algorithm.
Yeah, and in fact, there's already some known cases where it currently doesn't map everything, I believe, even too. It's not like a complete.
If you were to ask like what HLIL instruction does push EBP correspond to, it's like, well, all of them, right? Like kind of, but not really. So like there's a lot of strange edge cases, and so it's a best attempt. And Gasoline says it's Hexrace isn't perfect.
Yeah,
Ghidra's not perfect. We're not going to be perfect, but I think
but it's really helpful for understanding.
It works really well.
Yeah, it's very helpful. And then the related feature, this is actually, honestly, I like this one even more. It's a little more subtle, but my favorite is literally just here. So let's pick a call to printf, hitting I here and going to low level, and then I going to medium level, and then hitting space and going to graph view. That syncing and keeping on the same object in those views.
Yeah, that's much improved from what it used to be.
That was also part of Brian's work on these API mappings and this reflection stuff was that process.
He did a great job on this feature.
That one, it's so funny because as soon as he did it, it was just like, I didn't even realize how bad I had it before. Like, wow, man, we should have done this months ago. This makes it so much nicer. So it is funny that like, you sometimes get used to things just being the way they are and you forget like, it could be better.
Yeah. So one interesting thing about this is it's currently implemented as a doc widget, which is not the best way we could do it. Sure, doc widgets are flexible. You can move them around and stuff. But really, ultimately, we want to have this be a split view. But, Brian wasn't trying to like go and refactor the entire UI. He was trying to, solve a problem and, have something that would work there. So in the future, possibly as soon as 3.0 comes out, we're going to be trying to do split views. So that means, on the left-hand side, you're going to have, you can have anything. So instead of reflection view, it would just be split view, right? Yeah. And so then you could have the types view up along with linear disassembly or whatever.
I kind of think about like in Word, where you grab like the handlebar and you just drag it down and it just splits it automatically, but then you can navigate one differently and you can churn sync on and off and that kind of stuff. Like we don't know the exact like UI paradigm exactly yet. That's definitely one of those things where like you kind of got to try it and try a couple of different approaches. But yeah, this is not its final form, but it's still a really nice feature.
It's super helpful. Yeah. And great if you need to look side by side.
And while I'm here, this actually segues quite nicely into our other. I don't need the feature map quite so big. Segues quite nicely into one of our other things. Is I just happen to have this variable selected, and we'll notice over here we've actually now got variable references, right? So RSI. In this case, it's a pretty simple one. It's this. Here's the store of it, and then here's a use of it over as an argument for printf. But you'll notice like these are IL references, right? Like you're actually seeing these as the IL for the variable, which is super, super crisp. And if I switch over to like high level IL and pick a different variable, like so this is the high level IL version. This variable 8C versus 80. Where did 80 come from? Yeah, so 80. Well, actually, I was going to say I don't know where it's initialized, but of course I do. I can literally look at my cross references and see right there. It's initialized right over here. So way up at the top. So that's a really big one.
That's really one of my favorite new features.
Yeah. I think for actually improving like the usability of like looking through and reversing stuff, that's you can't beat that. Like that's definitely
and it's done in a way so we don't track this, but it kind of makes it obvious is reads versus writes, because you can see the instruction that it's part of pretty easily. I would like to eventually have a reads, writes, address taken and called probably.
Well, this icon
different types of different types of variable references.
So for address references, is it like here? I forget. There is a way. There we go. Like so, data references versus code references. The arrow here. These do actually indicate. Direction.
That's in and out, which doesn't represent. Which is not the same as read versus written. So that's like this is referencing versus this is referenced by is what the in and out is. But this address, this variable is written versus this is read versus called.
I feel like we probably could use the same. I think like we could probably repurpose the icons for that purpose here too.
I feel like we probably need a different set of icons to not kind of overload it. Yeah.
That's right. But Josh, we're going Super Saiyan on these guys. Not our final form. So yeah, let's try something else.
So here's another thing I wanted to mention about this is you see if we're on like code references and data references, if you show those are still displayed in disassembly. And people have asked us like, oh, why don't you just show these in IL? And ultimate goal, yes, we would love to be able to show them in IO, but we have to be very careful with how we do this, because the thing is that so variable references are intra-procedural. So it's only variables within the current function that's being displayed. But code and data cross-references are intra-procedural, meaning any function in the whole binary could be referencing this thing. So how do you get the IL for any reference in the binary? Well, either you have to store it somehow. So now we've got this big, giant, nasty map of like instruction address to IL instruction, and those IL instructions have pointers to the function. And so now if you have too many functions, it just kind of spirals out of control for doing the mapping if you're trying to do it while you're creating the mapping. The other option is to do it on demand. That's also difficult because you select an address and
I've got to regenerate high level IL for some.
Now
really
you've got to
big
regenerate,
function
decompilation essentially for every single function, potentially thousands of functions that reference this. So it's we don't have a great solution other than, well, if it's a data or code cross-reference, show disassembly. Otherwise, show.
Yeah, I mean, I think the current approach works pretty well.
Yeah, it is, and there's a very clean split that, like, okay, if it's intra-procedural analysis, we can show the disassembly just fine. If it's inter-procedural, we gotta kind of make sure we don't blow up your RAM any more than we already do.
So CC asks, I think that might be Chris, if there's any plans to work on BNDB saving and loading times. There were actually several commits, and somebody mentioned in the chat that that had dramatic performance improvements on saving and loading between the last stables. So but I think you've been using dev. I'm trying to remember Slack conversations. So let me know if you're on the latest dev or on the latest stable and you're still seeing slow times, because there's work to be done there and things we could improve, but it's not a top priority right now. I think we did have some really bad ones. We sort of feel like it's good enough for now. But if you are still having problems, let us know.
We have been, it's kind of one of the things that's kind of backburnered for us. We have a design that would allow us to not hog all your memory and kind of stream it out to disk as needed. We're still kind of working through that mentally. It also comes with a lot of interesting side benefits, like just speed of analysis would be dramatically faster if we move to this. But it's also something that will take Rusty probably 6 months to do. So we do this, we do a big feature like this, like that, and it's going to take some time. It would speed up database loading and saving. It would speed up analysis, and it would give you finer grained understanding of why an update occurred to a function. Kind of right now, like our system just kind of works on updates. So you like generate the high level IL and you're like, hey, this function updated. And you're never given a reason, like this function updated because we added a new parameter. So then like all the downstream analysis has to just assume essentially, okay, everything updated in this function that calls me, and so I need to go regenerate everything myself. So there's a lot of nuance that we could add there to say, like, okay, when when a function gets updated, we only need to kick off analysis on downstream functions if, certain conditions are met. So if they change the name of a variable, we don't need to update everything.
Now, is this
if
the
they
same...
changed the type of a stack variable and that stack variable isn't passed to any downstream functions, we don't need to update the, any of those functions. Or we could only update the functions that do use that new type that was created. So,
is this the same change that would also let us have these global high-level or IL-based cross-references? Because we've now got everything kind of cached or...
yeah, you could do that at that point too.
Yeah.
Because essentially we'd be keeping everything in memory.
Or serialized to disk or whatever. We'd have it around, wherever it was, it would still be there.
Well, it'd be serialized in memory and compressed, and then if we get beyond a certain point, then we start dumping the stuff to disk as well. And it's probably still going to be faster than regenerating it, because,
especially with all the other changes that you mentioned that enable.
Yeah, and I think there's actually a point of diminishing returns. If it's a single line function, like regenerating the HLIL for that will be instant, essentially. But if it's, it's got 50,000 basic blocks, it doesn't matter like how long, disk takes to write it. Like,
that won't be the bottleneck.
Should write it and read it back, and
All right, so I wanted to check out the other thing, which I think my...
so we didn't talk about type cross references, did you?
I was just about to do that. View in
there we
types
go.
views is currently T. Types is not T.
Types is T. Why is your setup funky?
I don't know, man. I can't reset the defaults. Reset the default. Ah, there we go. Somehow mine had gotten deleted. My T binding had gotten unbound. So 370 megabyte BNDB takes 30 seconds to load on an 8-core system.
Yeah, this is okay.
That's...
Yeah,
we're not going to do 1 second Chrome loads. I would say that 30-second load time for 400 megabyte BNDB is not a pain point we're going to seek to address before other features at this point.
We have been able to, we've also got some plans for being able to better parallelize. But the problem with that is then we consume too much memory. And the solution to that is the solution I was just talking about. So that solution like solves a ton of pain points, like speeds up analysis, it speeds up database loading, it speeds up, like it enhances our ability to parallelize things, it decreases memory. So there's just so many things that it helps with.
I'm just looking for any interesting type cross references. So yeah, I mean, some of these have.
So type cross references. People can get confused about this. I know I was confused at first. Type cross references are type-to-type references.
Right.
So they're not. Code reads this type. It's this type is referencing this other type.
Yeah, so segment command uses
type.
the VM-prot t enum. So if I'm on VM-prot t enum, I can see those references to both segment command and segment 64. Both reference that type.
Right. Now we also have references to this type, which are code references. So if this code references this,
right,
this
member structure type or whatever,
of this structure, then we display all those. One cool side effect of this is a feature that we're going to be working on pretty soon for the next release is showing all the references to a structure in the structure view. So now if you like create, well, not now, but when we create this function, we'll have, if you create an empty structure and then just go set it a bunch of places, you'll be able to then return to the types view, and then you'll see, we'll actually, you know, break out the various places where that structure is being referenced. And ultimately, I want to be able to just say, oh, right click, create structure, you know, at all the references.
Yeah,
fix my glare.
We've already got smart structures, right? Which currently are where you can say, you know, there's an alloc of a certain size. You can just hit S on it, and we'll make the structure based on the, you know,
size, but that's only intra procedural. This new one would be inter procedural.
Right. That is at a particular. That's intra. Yeah, it's inside of a function. This current, you hit S, and it creates a structure just based on the current allocation. Or the current, or you can create members at it just by putting S on an access of, of that address. But that's just doing it at that point in code, like one particular address. This is like find all the references to that type and then be like, well, I, you know, intelligently fill out, you know, one function creates a member here, one function creates a different type here, you know, and so now you know information about those two different offsets from the different functions. So yeah, that'll be. That's probably well, so I guess we can, I was planning originally on saving it kind of for later, but in terms of talking about like 3.0. Oh, and so you mentioned 3.0. The current plan is that this 2.3 is the last in the 2.x series, and that 3.0 will be the next release.
That's not final.
But that's not final. Current plan, that's why, because you said 3.0 earlier, I would synonymize it with like next release.
Next rev.
Might be 2.4, but it may be 3.0. We'll see. So the current.
I'm gonna step away for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries. That's right. I'm used to running for a while. So let's see what else we got. We got our variable view syncing. I didn't even talk about all the different options, but there's a ton of different ways that you can change how the view syncing works. So you can show reflection. And let's move it. Actually, let's reset it. I like it being down here. And then I thought it was it there? Oh, it's in the title bar. Yeah, it's up here. Yeah, so this is kind of interesting. So because this is sort of a flow, this is a true flow graph, right? You get all of the right click stuff with and yeah, we also have an optimized right click in 2.3. It is not the super optimized one that was maybe a little over optimized that I did on stream a couple weeks back.
Who wrote that beautiful code
on the right click? Yeah, I know. Isn't it nice how clean it is now? It's not as clean as I'd like it though. It's better. We'll see. We may have more changes. It's a fine line between hiding everything in the submenu and making the most common things accessible. So, but if you right click up, what I was gonna say is this, you know, right click and everything that happens in here is all just based on this flow graph, which is just like a regular medium level IL flow graph, right? So you get all the same power you used to, kind of like if you were doing it up here. But if you right click up on the title bar, you've got a few extra options, right? So you can actually turn off synchronization, for example. So like you want to just leave this one up in whatever view, but then go back and do something else, you could turn that off there. Now, you can also just view split to new window, split to new window. And it's a little bit of a pain because you gotta like now close down all your sidebars potentially. You could leave one view up, you know, and you could let your window manager. You could do that way too. It's just another nice option that you can right click on that and control that. You can also change like the default carousel, like which things you switch between. Why do we still have cut and paste and right click? Because like every app has cut and paste and right click. Yeah. Oh, Peter just typed the exact same answer. Yeah. I mean, it's a common thing. I guess it's also in the edit menu. I will say that like for hex view, it 100% should be there. In fact, you know, it's like the main thing that's in there. Well, okay. So while we're on the topic, yeah, we do want to have like an opt-in telemetry feature. So we'll never make that the default, but nobody uses cut paste. I think people copy a fair amount. And the reason I say people copy from us,
you can't cut. We don't have cut.
Yeah,
so there.
Wait, what? We do. It's there. I don't know what it does. We have cut.
Oh.
I don't know what it's gonna do.
So why is there cut? Cut shouldn't exist in a binary.
I mean, in hex view, I can see what it would do, but I don't know what it would do in this view.
Hex view makes sense,
right.
But
this probably just does the same thing.
If there's no if edit is off, if the new edit feature is off, then I shouldn't be showing it.
Oh, so that's actually a better point. Any of the
there is a debug feature, by the way. There's you can turn on debugging, but it's just for logging. Debug logging.
My bet is they're actually asking about the debugger plugin itself.
No, there's a debug. Yeah, that would be a more intelligent question.
Yeah. So I think when yes, we have a debugger. It is currently version 1.3. Let me install it and restart. So for example, here is a simple crack me, and we can see it's got like you entered a password, and then is your password oh, that's not great. Yeah, actually the latest version here doesn't actually show this as well. Ironically, I want to say medium level handles this better, or is it just this updated build? Yeah, I need to play with this app. This was a test app. Did this compile?
PyPony, it would be great to either if you're on Slack to let someone know, or file an issue on the repository.
Try to debug system preferences. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but that might be
debug system. It could be like OS. Well, like on like Mac OS, they have like system integrity.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there could be SIP issues there.
Welcome, iFam. Yeah. Oh, so also backup Gaselden. We were talking about the telemetry. We do actually want to have like an opt-in setting where people can say like, yes, please send my telemetry. Yeah. So we don't use LLDB directly. But well, no, there is an LLDB backend. There is an LLDB backend in the debugger, and so if you actually go to the debugger, GitHub, debug engine
if you
adapter.
can debug it with LLDB, then
where is it?
And you can't debug it with Binary Ninja using the LLDB backend, then that would be
that would be a bug.
Good.
Yeah, it's basically just slack.binary.ninja. And then there's a debugger, so you can put an invite there, and there's a debugger channel. Alternatively, you can actually just go to the GitHub repo and file an issue here. So the other update on debugger itself is that Andrew, who was one of the original author, Andrew and Glenn, did most of the work on the debugger. Andrew was also one of the people who worked on the ARM64, or actually he was the author of the ARM64 improvements, where he got a whole blog post coming out, and it's one of our, I think, major features, right? Is that we open sourced all of our architectures, and thanks to many efforts from the community, like our AR64 and RV7, like we've gotten a ton of improvements. And Andrew,
shout out to YRP and
Nishi, and if I don't remember if I saw them in chat currently, but but Andrew is kind of wrapped up like that whole sort of sprint of work on the ARM improvements, and really cool stuff. We'll talk about kind of how he did that in a blog post, but he's back to debugger. So you should start seeing there's been some stagnation on some of these debugger issues, but he's going to start working on that again. So you expect to see more progress in terms of improvements to the debugger again, hopefully. So it should be getting some love.
You should invite Europe on the stream. I don't know what he would talk about, but
we've talked about it. He has declined me twice, I think. Now he's going to decline, but I have asked.
So Marcus, if you want to put some pressure on him to be on stream.
I mean, I'm just wondering when Marcus is going to be on stream too. I've also asked you, Marcus. So you got to be careful about volunteering other
yeah.
people.
When's Marcus gonna be on stream?
Yeah, actually, you know what? Marcus, you should when you got something you want to talk about, maybe that we're working on together, maybe we could talk about that on stream. So yeah, when you have something to talk about, that's what I'm suggesting. I think we might we might have something interesting we can say. So hopefully all right,
did we get through type cross references? Did we get to the HLIL improvements?
I think that's where we're at now. Let's close that debugger. Actually, I don't need the debugger at all. Let's get out of debugger view. It's under assembly graph. Oh, it's still got, yeah, because I had the debugger view, it uses the tags to create the breakpoint. I'm just gonna like reload it. It's faster. Okay, so for changes include, we got reflection view. Yeah, so I mentioned the settings. We have to go all the details. Type and cross references. Haven't even gone into all of that, and there's a bunch more to that. There's actually, again, a whole blog post coming out for that, so you'll see a lot more details about it. High-level HLIL improvements. So this is one of the, this is like an evening, like an hour or two. Rusty just like threw this together, I think, right before the dev landed. It seemed like it was a relatively quick, like, oh, I should do this. But it had a fair amount of positive feedback. In fact, I've already got it on here. You'll notice. So we're a little bit less Pythonic now. So if we look for, I usually search for scope. You'll see I've already changed this setting, but the default would have had no braces.
Tab to represent bodies.
Yeah, it's just more concise. You know, there's only tabs, there's no braces. But with this new setting now, you can actually choose braces plus a new line. And if you reload it, you'll see like it's just a really little thing. But for people who are kind of used to looking at it one way, I know a lot of people were like very grateful, like, oh man, that really actually did make a huge difference. So definitely keep onto us. If there are things like that you think are going to make a big difference, like ask us, because again, sometimes you just sort of like default and you get used to something and you don't realize like, oh, you can make people's lives really better with a really small change. So actually, I was going to ask you, Peter, from like, we're getting closer to C, right? Like we're obviously like, I think the argument syntax isn't valid. Our signed or unsigned
big
comparisons, yeah, and then the type, the way that we do,
it's specifically typecasting.
Yeah,
like we use zero extend instead of like casting as
unsigned or signed. Yeah. Right. And likewise, yeah. So that's that. And then you throw some semicolons on, and it seems like that's most of what a C output would do. But
yeah, but C typecastings are awful. Like
I know, right? Like who wants this?
You shouldn't want C typecasting. You should like just realize the way we're doing it's better. But if you don't want to, and you want to do something like recompile, which is understandable,
there's a time and a place. Yeah, there's a time and a place for that. Oh, that's funny. The Marcus was just saying
you gotta have a certain amount of Ludditery or
to want it to exactly be C. Yeah. Unless you're, or maybe you've got like, I don't know, source code analysis plugins you want to run across it, and if it's actually C, they're due. Like there's, there are certainly valid reasons. We like our HLIL better. It was a conscious choice. We made HLIL first, but we never said like we were never going to do C output. It was just yeah, well,
I mean,
it's on the radar.
C is really the first of many high-level languages. Yeah. Right. Well, I wouldn't consider C a high-level language.
It's pretty low level.
It's a medium-level language. Like that term doesn't really exist, but that's what it is. Come on.
Yeah. So PyPony, the differences to Hopper are, I would say Hopper has better like Objective-C, Swift, Mako iOS support.
Why do you always start with everyone else is better?
I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. That's the one. That's the one thing that Hopper does better. Everything else, Binary Ninja does better. So, Binary Ninja has a better API. It has a better set of architecture supports, better set of platform supports. We support Mac, Linux, and Windows to run on. Hopper only supports I forget, they don't support Linux, I think, or Windows, or Windows. I want to say it's Windows. They got Linux working with, yes. Anyway,
our decompiler's
far better. Yeah, high level IL.
I mean, they try to do C, but yeah, we don't even try to do it. I would say one of our top things this next cycle will probably be doing a C decompilation. It's not difficult at this point. It's
right.
I mean, look at if you bring up the blog post, like just look at what the braces, the one with braces looks like. I mean, if you can read C, but you can't read this, then there's something wrong.
So, literally add semicolons and that one sign right there. That is the only thing that makes this not C.
For this particular function. The other thing is, like figure out like types.
And again, I still would like it.
I'm sure there's going to be some other thing that we're like, oh, sucks. This sucks. Like,
yeah, maybe there's a best effort version or something else.
Well, I mean, most of the other things don't try to, like, IDA calls theirs pseudo code, right? They don't call it C because they don't guarantee that they're going to produce something that's compilable and whatever.
So PyPony, another the one of the biggest differences too about Hopper is that the Binary Ninja API is light years ahead of Hopper. Hopper really doesn't have like much of a scripting. They have a scripting language, but like the last time I tried to use it, for example, I literally just wanted to count a list of functions in a binary, and like that wasn't a thing you could do. Like there wasn't, which seemed like just the most the simplest thing. So it might have
some noob called Isaac Wines.
Isaac, hey Isaac, and he's allowed one walkthrough on stream, so maybe that's why he dropped in. So that's my youngest, and he's allowed to walk through in the background behind me once per stream, once a week. He can't say anything and he can't look at the camera, but he's allowed to walk through. So now that I've told him that, he'll probably come through. No, IFAM, Binary Ninja does not run a Raspberry Pi 4, primarily because it's just not worth the effort. Like, there's no reason we couldn't set up we already compile on the Apple M1.
Pretty sure it's a joke.
But is that like a Redair joke maybe? Because Redair runs on everything. But
allegedly generates recompiled by
compilable
C.
Compilers disagree. It's okay. So decompilation is really hard, friends. Like this is the thing, and this is why we made a very, very conscious choice to produce really usable.
Make something that will recompile on every C compiler.
It might not be right.
There's going to be a lot of inline assembly.
That's fair.
I mean, like,
if your goal is good luck changing it or modifying it.
Yeah, because really you don't know that even started at C. There's so much stuff that's like, you try to decompile the libc, and there's some.
Let's put a hand rolled assembly in there. Yeah, absolutely.
Tons of hand rolled assembly in there.
So we're pretty happy with our choice. We generally want to be very responsive, and when people complain or ask for stuff, like we always want to be listening. But like this is one that we push back a little bit on people. We said no, like this is a very conscious choice. High level IL is better than C. We want it that way. We'll get you something C-like eventually, or more closer to C. But it's pretty close. Going the long way around, Zaraz. Port Delphi to C by putting it through Guido. So compile Delphi, then hand raise it back into compilable C. There are applications for it.
I feel like that's a meme waiting to happen with like the brains like exploding. How to rewrite something in a different language.
All right, just compile it.
At the end.
Compile it and decompile it. Right. All right, so more high-level IL stuff, right? So we also got dead store elimination, and this is not done either yet. I would say this is a step in the right direction. Did I think I saw Europe on the comments? Was he in there earlier?
No.
because yeah, a lot of this was his. Oh, maybe not. Um, he's been super vocal in a really good way. We like our vocal users because we want them to keep us honest, and when there's itches that we're not scratching, we want to know about it. And one of the things he was pointing out was that I think I made the quote like dead store elimination gone wild. Like it can you would find pieces eliminated that you didn't want, right? Code would be eliminated that it was a little overzealous, and so you'd not see stuff in HLIL that really probably should have still been there. So Gaston, it's not just the braces. Like I don't have a problem with the braces, which is sort of like a formatting thing. I'm more concerned with like the like all the super casting arrays versus something else, right? Like nobody finds a ton of casts easier to read than our current syntax. I don't think, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are gonna just use C. Like, it's pretty nice.
He forgot to close the door. Hopefully, he comes around and gets it. So anyway, so one of the things that dead store elimination now does is it's a little less aggressive, but it will show things like in gray. Like if it thinks it can eliminate something, it'll actually show it grayed out, and then you can right click on it and choose dead store elimination and say allow it, and then it will actually kind of remove it if you want to clean up your output. So it's a little less overly zealous, and then when it does find something, you can actually say like, yeah, go ahead and do it, or you can just not, and then it will keep it around.
But when you allow it, it stops it from being gray.
No, I think the elimination is what you're allowing. So
yeah,
yes,
I mean, yeah, when you prevent it from
right,
yeah,
then it
the opposite
right
of because it's allowing a dead store, then it goes away. If you prevent the dead store, then
I don't know if I have any. These binaries are too simple, I think, to get any. I wonder if I get anything else.
Yeah, this mainly comes with stack aliasing. So like you have a variable on the stack that is like it's alias but not used directly. As in alias, I mean the address is taken of a stack variable, but let's say the stack variable is 16 bytes, but you only take the address of the first
byte,
8 bytes, so the first byte really. Then the next 8 bytes would be seen as like, oh, no one ever accesses that. It's just a it's just a dead store. Someone puts stuff there and never actually reads it out. So this helps out a ton with that.
And I just crash Binza. So I don't know if I have crash jumps on.
Wow.
Let's see if I can reproduce it. I just hit page down a couple times. Ooh, reproduces. Well, that should be easy to fix. If it reproduces. All right, well look for a fix coming for that. That's probably that particular BNDB and the analysis still happening. Yeah. Yeah. That's just because it's a really big BNDB. Anyway,
let's look at the next thing on the list.
All right, what do we got? Open source architectures.
The core architectures.
So we already talked about a fair amount about that. This is again just a little preview of what's coming. So greatness is confidence, and that's actually true in both like when it's the whole line and when it's the whole line, it's the dead store elimination. When it's just part of the variable, it's actually in the type of the variable, I believe. How confident are we of the type? Is it definitely a pointer? It'll be colorful, and if it's not, it'll be grayed out. So yeah, thanks for answering that. Can you undelete something you eliminated? That's a good question. If you mark something in the dead store elimination, can you get it back? I don't know. I mean, yeah, with undo, you can get it back, but I don't know if there's a separate way to do that. That's a good question. Oh, Josh says yes, you can. Okay, well, let Josh answer. See, it's not the first time Josh knew more about Binja than I did. So blog post coming. We got a lot more details on exactly how the architecture is generated. It's really neat. And then this is a major feature. Python 2 is dead. Long live Python 2. So it is actually broken now. If you try to run Python 2, we expect things will break. We turn it off by default. We don't ship it.
But now we're going to be actually actively doing a lot more active breakages.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so much easier to develop without having to worry about them both.
Yeah, we're going to clean up the imports. There's things that we imported for both. There's type annotations that we want to be adding now.
Yeah, the imports were awful. Being able to add type annotations is going to be fantastic.
Yep. All right. Is there anything else, Peter, you wanted to cover you can think of from our their longer list of stuff that you liked? I already covered my little right click improvement. That's been probably my only or one of my few.
This was a big one. It's the calling conventions can opt out of heuristic.
Oh yeah.
So one of the common things, especially on like firmwares and stuff, is you'd see like Linux syscall calling convention being used all over the place, even though it wasn't actually being used. And just this little check to so we could so we heuristically determine what the calling convention is, and try to like match the call to a calling convention, and we now have the ability in the calling convention object itself to just say, don't ever use me for heuristic calling, because like in particular Linux syscall, or all the syscalls for that matter, the syscall calling convention, they shouldn't be used for heuristic calling convention. They're only used specifically when you see a syscall. So why were we ever even doing it?
That was just a mistake.
Kind of a bug. But
yeah. And so
that small fix a huge number of binaries.
Yeah, I do think I think that was probably the majority of where we got calling conventions wrong. But I also do think there is still some potential improvement available in terms of
calling convention detection is hard.
Yeah, it's straight up is hard. It's
not going
to be perfectly solvable, but yeah.
Especially when they don't even conform to a calling convention. You've just got to kind of.
Though ironically, I think that's actually the one thing we do better than any other tool, because we're the only one that actually really has intelligent convention detection. Everything else just it either matches a built-in one or nothing wrong. Sorry. So that's why when you see things like if you analyze a Go binary, or if you've got a compiler where the internal calling convention for a function that's not externally exposed, it makes it up on the fly, or there's several situations where you get random calling. Actually, somebody on stream, I think you've mentioned one a couple weeks ago, a different one I hadn't heard about. We don't get them right all the time, but we can actually handle those a little bit better than some of the other tools that just assume it has to be exactly one. But yeah, that's a good one. All right, let me see if I get a favorite one.
Rust API.
Oh yeah, well, I mean we don't oversell it. There is a Rust API. And it is got a very healthy warning right across the top of it. If I can.
Vector 35.
Is that our organization name? Maybe I should know that. All right. So there's a Rust subfolder here on the repo, and it's got a nice big warning. It should be like a red warning sign. What is this? Yellow warning sign. That's not scary enough. And it's.
Wait, isn't that? I thought. Okay. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's just a subfolder on the main Binary Ninja repo, and it's being shipped with it's being used to ship things with Binary Ninja, like the C++ template simplifier, which is actually another one of those that made it on the new start page. Oh, I gotta get up my other app. We'll show that. But anyway, or actually here, cdn.binary.ninja. Start page.html, I think. It's a secret, don't tell people. Where is it? Or did I not put it in here? Maybe I didn't put it in here. I know we have one somewhere with a screenshot of the C++ template simplifier. Oh, I know where it is. User docs. Maybe?
Yeah, we made him update that.
Oh no, there's a bug in my docs.
Fail.
My images didn't load. Hold on, is it here?
No, don't worry about it. Move on.
It might be offline. Let me check my offline docs. Yes. Okay, I don't know why the online one's broken, but that's good because it's easy to fix. Offline docs worked good. Okay. Yeah, so you can see when you've got standard library, like template craziness, like you get much cleaner kind of output. And that actual plugin or that capability is actually implemented in Rust. So that we are using it, but there's just a very limited set of APIs, and the APIs that are there are liable to change. So we just ask people, don't get too excited. Like, we want to show you that we're making work on it, but don't put a ton of effort into doing things unless you're willing to have it change out from underneath you. That's the caveat we want to add there. Yep. Yeah, I mean, as usual, tons and tons of other fixes, lots of other, yeah, and again, under architectures, man, we actually have so many other fixes under architectures that didn't even get listed here, especially ARM and RV8, RV7, RV8. The callback APIs are actually pretty nice too. So there's some brand new APIs that, for if you're a plugin author, these are really pretty important. Yeah. So I know Josh and Marcus are both fans of those. So those are actually pretty useful. And then you can see we just also documented all the different settings that we've added for new features. So some of these are duplicates of other stuff, but a few of stuff there. So that's our overview. Yeah.
I did say that I was going to talk some shit about Python, so I feel like I would.
You want to explain? Yes. So the next thing we were going to do anyways is talk about like what the future has, and one of the things I want to talk about is like what are the commits, because there's usually a couple of things like we're waiting to land on dev post the stable. One of them you've been working on, so why don't you explain why you're upset at Python? And
okay, so I mean, Python, they support embedding, but they're not meant for embedding. Like, it is not a language that is well designed to be embedded.
And to be clear, by embedded, you mean like ship your own Python interpreter with some libraries or make it extensible? Like,
not even, yeah, like, well, no, just importing the Python library. Like, doing that, if you want to do that, hopefully your app is just a standalone thing.
A fixed set of dependencies.
Yeah. You can ship your dependencies with it. You control everything. Binary Ninja is very different, right? Because we have plugins. We ship our own plugins. We also have third-party plugins.
And the
those
key
third-party plugins have, I guess, fourth-party dependencies.
And the key differentiator too, right, is that we shipped a Python with it. We chose early on that it was worth the effort to include our own Python, as opposed to just being like, hey, by the way, like, which is what I did. I was like, just install your own Python. If you want a Python, like, fine, you install your own. Although actually, I think that do they ship one now? I thought I saw something about that. That I'd ship a Python. I bet Marcus knows.
They've always shipped one.
I don't think they did.
Like, I don't think they did. I mean, back when I was reversing it, there was like two options. It was like you could install theirs, which was like the only option to like actually get the console working, or there was like use your own. Like, I remember the installer having that like back in like maybe 2010.
All right, so
something like that.
Marcus though asked the question.
I don't know how they do it though.
Marcus asked a great leading question for you, Peter, which is like, what straw broke the camel's back for? Because what Peter's going into is like auto dependency installs, right? What we really want to be able to do is like click install on a plugin and have it install all the dependencies for you, right? There's a bunch of pip dependencies, like go get those. And that's what Peter's working on. It's been painful to say the least.
The real reason is because I've got a ton of dependencies on a project I'm working on, and I want to be able to have people one click and install the stupid thing, rather than having to like click install and then it say, oh, it can't load it because there's no dependencies. So it comes down to something that seemingly simple, which is if you have a Python binary, and that binary corresponds to the same library you use when you're embedded, you can pretty much make everything work.
But and to be clear, they're different though, right? Like the binary doesn't usually link against the actual library. Like it's just got its own copy of it. It just happens to be the same version a lot of the time.
Depends on how you build it.
Depends on the platform and how you got it. But like it's a little weird but there's like, it's not just a strict like, oh, there's an executable and then there's a library it links to. And you can also like link against that library and load it into like the Binja scripting console, which is basically what we do right now. And we ship one, but we'll also find an existing system one. But like we don't ship a python.exe or equivalent elf or Mach-O because we don't need it. We've just got the core that we instantiate and wire into our scripting provider. But that turned out to be a problem. So that's the issue, Peter.
Yeah. So now I'm on the path of like this heuristic approach of, given the library that we're currently running as Binary Ninja, find out the Python binary that corresponds with that library, which may not actually exist because maybe you only have the Python lib and you don't actually have the binary.
Yep.
So that'll be a small requirement. And for the most part, most people won't have a problem with this unless they're running some strange configurations, and we can prompt some errors. And
well, they can always manually, we
like
can always tell them, you fix this problem by installing a Python and pointing us at it, or just pointing us at your existing one, right? So there's like, we can hopefully we want a good out of the box experience for most users.
But like everyone I talk to, I explain this problem, they're like, why do you have such a problem with this? This is like easy. Like you just pip install it. Oh, why don't you just import pip? Like, why don't you just like, and it's always something like, oh, like you don't understand this problem at all. And I've been living this problem for the past 3 weeks. Let me tell you the hell that I've been through and the 3 refactors I've been through.
Yes. You've tried all of those things. So real quick, by the way, IFAM, no Lua, no WASI. The reason why is just because there's a tremendous amount of like reverse engineering libraries and tooling and stuff in Python, and it really makes no sense for us to. I mean, you can actually implement your own scripting provider right now for any of those. There are other things that you could implement in the scripting provider, like that's all exposed. But like,
yeah, if we were only concerned with how embeddable it was, yeah, we would be doing Lua.
Yeah.
If we were not concerned with like everyone writes in Python.
But that's just where all of the functionality is, and so that's where all the utilities are. So Python really is the right choice. Yeah, Ruby and Lua are dead. WASI,
I know some people that would beg to differ with you, but yeah,
that's fine. They're wrong. So WebAssembly, is, I don't even know. Like, what is the syntax for even writing a WebAssembly? I mean, JavaScript as a language is like better. That would be the next best choice potentially as a JavaScript. But even there, like, what libraries are you gonna have with the JavaScript for program analysis and binary? Like with Python, you can get PyElf and all sorts of other like useful things you might want to leverage. But so the short explanation is Peter's tried a million different things. I've worked on it for a little bit with him too. We banged our heads. We tried all sorts of stuff. Like he's put a lot of effort. The answer is probably
we have a solution though.
Yeah. Go ahead and describe what's gonna work and how this.
Yeah. I mean, it's I posted the script into Slack. And this is basically, figure out whatever library that they're currently running, which could be, could be anything. It could be one of our bundled Pythons. It could be one of the system Pythons or whatever. And given that, find the corresponding Python binary. And if we can find that, then we're good.
Well, because then you can use pip to basically pip install things.
Then we can just
you have
pip
to have
install,
a Python binary to
whatever.
do that. You cannot pip
you
install without.
Absolutely have to have a Python binary to use pip.
And it's looking under the sheets at how pip works is kind of disappointing.
It's like,
oh, I thought there was good
somehow
code here.
This has worked for years.
Yeah,
and
this is the bedrock upon which our. I mean, to be fair, if we looked at NPM or anything else,
what does pip do other than download files? I mean, they probably work very hard on pip. I'm sure
there's a lot of good people working on it. Yeah. So the question is about how do we handle PyD between versions when source is unavailable? We don't. We just assume that the source is available for the way that we load plugins. It's sort of out of our scope. We're not trying to solve that problem yet.
Yep. We just import whatever thing that is
specified by the plugin in the plugin folder. Yeah. So anyway, all of this to say, soon. Do you have a rough estimate for time when you might land this?
Well, I mean, the script has been working pretty well. Everyone I've asked for has confirmed that it works.
And now it's stable shipped.
After I fix the latest bug.
Yeah.
Stable is shipped, so there's nothing really holding me back. Maybe as soon as Monday I can push something that tries to...
Another bonus that you haven't mentioned yet. What's the other feature that people are going to get with this too? This actually came up.
Virtual environments. So if we're going to automatically install plugins, we should really give people some kind of control over where those dependencies get installed. So it's maybe a little bit different. A lot of people, when they configure a virtual environment, you just point it at the Python and then it just works. But we're embedded, so this is a little bit different. So I just require that you specify a site packages directory.
So no, Joe, each plugin does not have its own virtual env. There's one global one for all.
The problem is, again, we're embedded. So
you got a Python prompt in the console.
Virtual
You got to pick one for that, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Each Python instance can only support one virtual env. So we would have to completely refactor the way we're doing Python to make it more like how VS Code works. So where, there's an API,
I honestly
serialization.
I like the way that this is going to work, and the reason why is because I, for example, will use the Python console to interact with plugins that I've got installed, right? So I can actually manually call into plugins and do that from the Python console, and I couldn't do that if they're all in separate virtual envs, right? It wouldn't really be doable. They'd have to have some sort of whole separate way to do that. So I think it's actually, there's some advantages to doing it that way, but yeah, it is just one virtual env right now. Plugins are right now. App Store's coming. I mean, at some point, that's always been part of the plan. Is to we'd like to do even paid plugins eventually. I think that would be cool to get people paid for their hard work. And if somebody wants to write a really awesome plugin and sell it directly,
or even just donate buttons in Binary Ninja to where people can
and we want reviews and feedback and ratings and that kind of stuff too. I think that would help a lot. I think that the plugin ecosystem, the strength of a tool really depends a lot on this plugin ecosystem. And IDA has just got a huge collection of people who've been writing plugins for years, and so they're not organized, and they're not it's hard to know what's current and what's updated and where they're at. So that they suffer from that. Ghidra, obviously, the internal team has written a ton of plugins. But I think the same thing is true. I haven't seen most of the third-party stuff are not as well integrated and organized, even though they do kind of have their own little plugin managers. So I really think that the plugin ecosystem, and doing that really well is something we can sort of do good with. PyPony, when you say what plugins for Mac exist, do you mean? I mean, all the plugins work.
If
most
you look
everywhere.
at our GitHub page and the community-plugins repo, you can see a list of all of the plugins. And
yeah, so you can either in Binary Ninja bring up the plugin manager and look at all the plugins. You can see the ones I've got installed, or yeah, if you go back to GitHub. Community plugins, you can actually see the list there as well too. But they're not really, most of them are not OS specific. Very occasionally there will be OS specific things. So licensing is up to you currently. You put whatever license you want in it, you're submitting it. The only issue is they must be Python, they must be on GitHub. So that kind of is a little bit limiting. For the actual app store, that, you know, it's, again, that's still very much an idea. We don't have any code towards this yet. We would plan to have support for native plugins. And we would probably be building that on our infrastructure and having CI and verification, and we would vet your plugins, and that's where they would move into like a more, you know, verified state. I do all the approvals for current plugins in the plugin manager, and I usually like eyeball them briefly, or, you know, if it's a plugin that I've seen before, I know, you know, what the code does, and then in its new update, I'll just usually push it through without reviewing it closely. But, you know, new plugins, I look at the functionality, I see what they do. I might glance at the code. Depends on, you know, kind of how much time I have, or.
But in the new version, the plugins they'll be a little bit more easy to tell the difference between official
one and community ones, right?
Official ones. So the non-official ones are kind of at your own risk. But that's,
and there is
the
first time you run a third-party plugin,
Python libraries are like,
or any plugin ecosystem. The first time you install a third-party plugin, you get a warning in Binary Ninja that you got to click through that says like, right, this is a third-party plugin. You know, just be aware, we are not responsible if it formats your computer and leaks your you know, doxes you or something. But yeah, with the App Store one would be more verified, and we would handle, again, a lot of the kind of building and packaging and that kind of.
But all of them are open source too. So
currently, because they're all GitHub, because they're all Python, right. Yes, yeah. Although actually,
if we were going to do a curated like paid app store, then there would be more. There would actually be rigorous, like, and with closed source plugins, and there'd be much more rigorous testing and verification.
I will say we have open sourced all of our plugins as either Apache or MIT, and the vast majority of our plugins, in fact, actually here, I can click through, they're almost all MIT. There's an Apache, MIT. Actually, I think it's even easier to read here. Yeah, you can see all licenses here. All MIT Apaches there. So Nampa is LGPL v3. There's a BSD. So the vast majority of them are very unrestricted, I would say. ISC, actually don't know that license. Yeah, so other than literally 2 or maybe 3, they're all either Apache, BSD, or MIT. But again, that's up to the plugin authors what they want to do. Though we did intentionally kind of set the trend, and our even our API itself, the Binary Ninja API, is all either Apache or MIT licensed. So yeah, so other things. So just to sort of like a summary for people. After every major stable release, the whole Binary Ninja team sits down for like a half-day kind of meeting, and sort of we do a lot of like
soul searching.
Usually more just what's the right word? Vision cast? No. Project planning. You know, we hash out what are the features.
Feature planning.
Feature planning. Like, what are the features that we want to do next? What are the things that we think we can get done in the next stable? What are the things that we're not going to get done? Dream questing. I like that. Welcome, Valgrind. Yeah. So sometime probably next week, the whole team will get together, and we'll come up with a better roadmap. So now what you will see then, of course, I switched off the desktop. What you'll see is on the Binary API repository under our issues. We have our milestones, and right now it's pretty useless because we just shipped 2.3, so everything is closed in it. And
anything that we didn't think we were going to be able to get, I mean, things that we planned far in advance
were clearly adjusted beforehand. There are some times where something doesn't land and it just gets
bumped. We hope to get search enhancements done in 2.3, but those didn't work.
It's not there yet.
We didn't quite get it there.
But the good news is that does mean that you'll get search. So actually, there are a couple things we know they're coming relatively quickly, right? In the next couple weeks, yeah. Search enhancements are coming. The plugin manager refactor with the Python dependency install, debug info API,
references, cross references to structure member offsets, not just structure members.
Oh, is that one that close? I'm excited. That's cool.
Oh yeah, that one's super easy to do. It's just not done.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be so. Yeah,
that'll be what Shushan works on after
search.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So those will all be landing probably here in the next couple of weeks. You should see those. And then here's our list of other features that we've currently tagged for 3.0. But again, this is very, very nominal. Maybe the type libraries, they'll hope, come at some point. But I will say other people can ship type libraries too, or can submit type libraries. We certainly wouldn't turn down others. At some point, we really would like to have the plugin manager be more of like a extension manager or a resource manager, where it could download themes and functional signature databases, type libraries, instead of just the plugins that it can do now. So
you can do type libraries in the plugin manager. It's totally possible. You just have to create a
wrapper plugin, yeah, basically.
And those can work in the plugin manager, but it's not documented anywhere, so no one's gonna do it until we document.
Maybe we should show it and do an example or document that. So
yeah.
Anyway, so keep an eye on this page. Maybe we'll be doing a video. I'm actually not. I think next week I've got a couple of weeks where I'm traveling or not available. So I'm either gonna move the day of the stream or we'll kind of bounce around. So keep an eye on our Twitter account, and we'll figure out exactly when that happens. But yeah, this is sort of like the nominal list of this. I mean, the main things for 3.0, like the big ones, would be the sort of UI enhancements, search enhancements, and UI enhancements. There's some pretty. These are not like minor. Like these are some pretty big UI enhancements we're talking about doing. These would be very, very noticeable big changes that would be coming. So that's the current plan. But again, that may change. We'll see. And so if you have features that you want and you want to have them higher prioritized, make sure to upvote them. Go to the issues, and we absolutely do this a lot. And we'll sort.
Tell us in Slack.
Let us know if there's any other questions. What is the current? Wait, is it not sorting by thumbs? It is. Does it not show the thumb count? Or is it because I'm not logged in?
No, it doesn't show it.
Is that always the case?
Yep. Pretty sure.
No, I've seen it before. I know I've seen it before.
Maybe.
I thought I had. That's annoying. You gotta click here. See 22 thumbs. Stack view. This would be a good one for 3.0. 17.
Yep. Those top two ones are probably going to get put into 3.0.
Probably 3.0, yeah. If we got the time. This one might, yeah, it's part of the UI kind of stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff would be cool to do. What is this? Call graphs?
Hello, Fox. We're about to sign off here.
Welcome. Yeah, sorry, we're just about to wrap up. You're welcome to go back and check the VOD. But yeah, that's the plan. That's where we're at. If y'all got no questions, thanks for everybody for hanging out with us today. Though this is a good release. I mean, listen, Fox, I will hang out just for you for a little while if you want to chill. You got questions for us.
I have to go cook a steak.
Yeah, Peter's got real stuff to do. My kids can fend for themselves, so I'll chill here for a little while longer.
All right, I'm signing off.
All right, Peter, it's good to see you. Take it easy.
Later, guys.
So Fox wants a demo. Fox, what would you like a demo of? We were just talking about the 2.3 features in Binary Ninja that just came out. I mean, and again, here's the trick is like these features have been in dev for a while, some of them for months. But we kind of bundle them all up. We do more testing and release our stable releases. So you can always stay on dev to get more. Oh, so like, I mean, that's what we're here for, Fox. Like, you know, make sure if you're not already in the Binary Ninja Slack, I definitely recommend that. Hanging out in there is a great place for answering questions. Yeah, we have not decided 2.4 or 3.0. We're not sure which it will be. The next version, it might even be a game time decision depending on how many of the things that we want. If we end up doing a lot of the UI refactor work lands in it, I think a 3.0 might be appropriate just because it will look pretty different. It'll have some new stuff. But if we end up having to cut back some of our goals there and focus more on things like C output, the search, the search refactor, stuff like that, we'll see. I don't know if I would want to do that tonight. A 3-part crack me from your previous tutorial. All right, well, how many points was that CTF challenge? And is the CTF done? Because I won't do any CTF that's currently still live. But if it's over, and if there was an easier part of it that I could do in 30 minutes or something, I'm willing to give it a whirl. But I have to clarify. If Peter was here, Peter's a much better reverse engineer than I am. So it would be better if we get yeah, right, exactly. Like I can solve something in 20 minutes. Come on. I would very much like arrays as well. I think high-level arrays, if Rusty keeps on the trend of working on more like high-level IL stuff that he's been doing as well. He's also working on some like the build stuff like with the M1, but working on the high-level IL array would be super nice. I think that is that the last really major HLIL? Honestly, yeah. I mean, the struct stuff Peter's talking about, being able to like auto structure and things like that, are all really nice. But array stuff and high level IL, and I think it's like, okay, yeah, like this is the decompile we wanted to build. There's always going to be stuff we could improve, but I don't think we have any real refactors planned for tag or bookmark UI. If you've got, so there is actually an issue. Let me see here. I think there's an issue. Let's see, tag enhancements maybe. Did that search? Oh, it happened. Oh wait, is tag literally searching for anything that has a GitHub tag? Because that would be the worst. Or the word tag. I think there's tags. Potential improvements to tags. There it is. So this was the last so that should be fixable. This is, so some of these are limitations. If you actually go back earlier in the stream when Peter and I were talking about how high-level IL is not always around, and partly for memory reasons, kind of just architectural reasons. So we oftentimes, we don't have like a global IL-based cross-reference system. Right now, all the cross-references are based on address. And so when you put a tag, tags only apply at an address. So you can put a tag in high-level IL and it will be added to that address. But that address, when it's mapped back to assembly, might not be kind of what you expected. Oh yeah, Zaris got it. Thank you. I was a little slow to realizing it. So this one, unfortunately, I don't know that we're ever really going to be able, not really. So there's just that this is a long-term fix. The preview being unrelated is if you're outside that function. We could have it be if you were inside that function, If you navigate to that function, then you've got high-level IL, then we could have it, but like at that point, you've already gone there. What you really want is like this global high-level IL. So that's going to require that refactor, like I said. You go back and check in the stream. Peter talked about, like, we know what it would take, but it's like a 6 months of rusty time. It's like a major refactor to get that. So there's some things that would be nice to have that would come with it, but there's a lot of other stuff we'll probably focus on first. Comments not showing up should be doable. The data column shows 2 characters. It can't. Oh, this is just bookmarks specifically. Okay. So yeah, bookmarks not showing data is, or apparently only showing 2 characters, is very much like intentional. Bookmarks are a strict subset of, actually, wait, this is the right one. So bookmarks are a strict subset of tags whose really only sole purpose is to give you some default key bindings for people who really like set a bookmark, navigate to a bookmark, right? So I can hit, is it control, actually, what is, yeah, control and then alt control, right? So if I set my bookmark inside of main with control 1, and then I just navigate away, and then do, which one's alt on this map? Alt control 1. It maps to, yeah, that doesn't work real well because my window manager ate that hotkey. So I can do it this way. Oh, setting is with, oh, it's the other way around. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so if I go here and I say set bookmark 1, now I should be, yeah, there we go. Now I've got my bookmark. Now I navigate away. You can tell I don't use bookmarks, by the way. So now actually, yeah, just was it control 1? Yeah, will take me back to it. So bookmarks again are just a strict subset of tags. Data is even shown? And there is no data field in this at all. Like that's intentional. I think, or maybe this is data and it's only just the number. But yeah, bookmarks intentionally are just for hotkeys. That's really all they are. So most of the improvements we'd be making to tags would be over in the actual actually not add tag, create tag. I think create tag. Is it add tag? No, it is add tag. Add tag. Sure, needs analysis. Data, my data, right? So like the improvements that we'd be making. Let's try this, by the way. Yeah, so comments not being shown. This particular case. Actually, let's do show reflection. It's already up. Reflection view is already up. And I want to switch that over to disassembly. Yeah, so like this, adding this over to the preview, that should be very doable. That one should be not a problem. I say this, make somebody else probably do it. It's not the work I would usually do. Let me see what other structuring them, sorting, filter search. Yeah, so like these features are totally doable, and what you want to do. So here's what I recommend for like these UI improvements. This is like you just got to bug Glenn. Go into the Binary Ninja Slack and be like, hey, Glenn, Jordan says that you can make tags amazing for me. When is that going to happen? And see if you can get him to do it. Yeah, exactly. Like the whole point of like bookmarks are a strict subset of tags, literally just meant for save and load location information. That's the whole point of bookmarks. That's the only thing that they're meant to do. And you could implement your own bookmark system actually just using like the snippet editor and binding hotkeys to using the tag system, because that's really all it does, right? You don't get to choose. You don't get to choose what tag it creates. Oh wait, that's the bookmark. Yeah. So like the fact that this is a bookmark is like you don't choose that emoji, but you can actually for all like the other ones. If you make a new tag, you can actually choose like the type of tag. So I could choose make a new tab type called turtle, and I could make this. Oh, I don't know how to edit turtle emojis in turtle emoji. This is ridiculous. Why am I wasting time with this? Because it's important. We want a real turtle. Real turtle. All right, turtle emoji. So now we can actually mark this as add tag turtle. Right. So like real tags, you get control over those, but it's just, yeah, not meant to do that for bookmarks. So then if points were dynamic, Fox, what was the total point for this challenge and how did that rank compared to the other ones? I'm not against embarrassing myself on stream. I've done it before and I'll do it again. So I'm not against reversing something. We just got to figure out if it's there, there might be some useful things that would come out of it. Oh, okay. So yeah, C++, that's a whole ball. That's a whole ball of stuff that I would really like to address, but I'm not sure when that is, when that's coming. Salt on color theory. This theme is officially, what is this theme? Outrun dark. I just like manually pulling themes and seeing what we get. So here's pale night. How's that look? Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. I could live with this. Yeah, I'm happy to, if y'all prefer to me to pick a consistent theme, I don't mind doing that too. I agree. I would love to have somebody else who's done long-term reverse engineering use Binjo come on and show off their work. So that's not my skill set. We definitely have some of those people in house. I don't know if I can convince them to be on camera for that long. On this one, the wine, yeah, the red is not very good. So there's always high vis. Where is it? High contrast. Here we go. So this should survive compression nicely, but it's meant for more projectors. So all flags are 500, but yeah, exactly. So I want to know. Okay, so like part 1, part 2 was over 460, 400 points. That's interesting that a single NOP solved it, but it only dropped down to 400 points. I'm wondering. Isaac, you just said me. Why did you say me? Probably because maybe my kids are coming out to complain about not having dinner. I might have to go out and attest to that. So Fox, if you drop me that binary for part 1 in the binary ninja Slack. If you send me the link there, I can get it into the VM. I would say a lot of anti-debug. Yeah, it still sounds like something I'm not going to do right now. I mean, they are self-sufficient. I just want them to not burn the kitchen down. They would make themselves dinner, and it probably wouldn't burn the kitchen down. I just would have more of a mess to clean up. But yeah, send me the binary, and I do promise though not to like pregame it too much. I won't like solve it entirely off stream and then get on here and act like I haven't seen it before. And do that. But yeah, I think we're nearing the end of our time. It's super fun hanging out with you guys though. Yes, hungry, and we need to start the movie. I love it. I love it. This is true. We do have family movie night every Friday night. So hey, Isaac, remind me what movie are we watching tonight? Anybody else got any final questions before we close down the stream? We've got a couple other good ideas too for future streams. So I'm excited. Actually, let me pull that list up now. And hope that doesn't pop up on the wrong screen, on the wrong window. Yay, okay, good. Stream ideas. So, oops, there we go. Well, that's annoying. I can't move the window without it going away. All right, so here are, I put this into a new notes. Yeah, let's do this. Oh. All right, so here's the current list of ideas we've got. Oh, we're doing Iron Man 2. That's right, we saw Iron Man 1. We're doing the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of in order. That's our current plan. So we'll do Iron Man 2 tonight. And he's very excited because he likes putting M&Ms in his popcorn. All right, so here's the plan for future videos. and actually some tag ideas. In this case, it wasn't about the tag UI, but about some interesting things that we can use for them. Want to show how you can combine tags, HTML reports, some special linking stuff that reports can do. Custom transforms are a thing that doesn't get enough coverage. Look at that, we just covered this one, so I can check that one off my other list. Implement a new scripting provider, although I think I said somebody else in the team should probably come on and do that with me, because that's something I would fumble badly. Firmware workflow, implement a new loader. These are just some of the ideas we've got for things that we plan to show off on stream over the next couple of months. So, ooh, all right, Josh is volunteering, and I think Marcus said it whenever he's got something new to talk about, he would come on stream. So hopefully we'll get some guests here on stream as well soon. Yeah, it was a good time. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We'll catch you next week. Like I said, probably not the usual time. I'll tweet about it. We'll do something else, but we'll keep going. So take care, everybody. Have a good one. Stay safe.